Welcome everyone to the 180th weekly MLP Drawing School thingy critique stream. I don't know what. One day we'll make an opening audio thing and it'll be like, hit the button, play that.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. We're kind of lazy when it
One
comes
day
to.
we'll be
Hey, I'm
robots.
Fluff. I'm not so Fluff.
Where's our outro
Just kidding.
music?
We're all Fluff.
We do still have our loading music supplied
That's
by
true.
KT.
I bit my lip.
You should avoid
Candy's
that.
dangerous.
So welcome. Today we got the ever lovely Ellie Claw.
Hello.
We got a Fluffy's eye.
Hi.
And a cute pencil case.
Hi.
And it looks like
And of
names.
course, we
popping
can't forget
back
the
and
ever
forth.
awesome Living Dead.
Hi. Brains.
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 I think you'll just have to put yourself in streamer mode until Maze's connection stops being silly.
I am in streamer mode. It's the best.
Okay, cool.
I like that mode. Alright.
So, yeah. I don't know if we wanted to start off by just having a little PSA. I know there was a little confusion last week, but to all watching and are here, our subreddit is dedicated to critiquing and helping others with improving in art. So if you're here to get some feedback and advice, awesome. If you're here to just show off your art, maybe try, they have what's the main subreddit for Pony?
Slash MLP.
Yeah, /MLP, and isn't there like an MLP art as well?
There is an MLP art. It seems to be mostly dead these days, but it's still around there.
You could revive it with your awesome art.
You could. No one's stopping you. But just to clarify, we don't want anyone getting the wrong idea.
If you post your art on our subreddit, it is grounds for us to critique it. And it doesn't mean saying, oh, your picture is wrong. It means this is ways that we think that you could advance.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it even tells you that when you go to post, that it's a critique meant for critique.
Words can be hard sometimes, you know.
What the heck? Okay, well apparently the subreddit has exploded on me.
Oh no.
Oh.
No.
Ugh. I don't know what happened there, but we're gonna ignore any changes that I did to the subreddit. Alright, so let's... Fluffy's Eye, you're here, so let's talk your art first.
Oh,
I know.
I wasn't expecting that.
A sacrifice,
Surprise.
but you know how this game works.
I threw it into the canvas in the last minute. So the painting, the ocean was just like blue. I'm like, this isn't really very pretty looking. I tried to paint some waves. I don't know if they're very good waves.
I think they're making the boat feel really small.
Yeah.
They look good. Like the shape you've given them is pretty good, but the scale of the thing is off. I think we gotta shrink down the waves just a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just used to lakes, though. I don't know. Who's been on the ocean?
I mean,
ocean waves are pretty big, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty big. I think the big thing for me is that it needs to be more reflective. Right now it feels like dense.
Ah.
Like I feel the paint. Like it feels like I'm looking at paint instead of something that's watery and reflective.
Yes.
So I would maybe try to work in something that's light and reflective and kind of gets that glossy feeling.
Yeah. Oh, and I think I could do sort of like a highlighty shine around the sort of top of the. Where's my pen? On I mean, like make it all shine. No, that's still not enough. Make shiny on the top.
Yeah, like super, like CPC just posted in a picture there.
Mm.
Oh, I did.
It works. Don't worry. And I might actually
I love that.
about making it, unless this is a super tropical ocean area, I would think about making the water slightly darker.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's definitely dark in that picture. CBC accidentally posted.
Well, I was trying to post it. I just wasn't sure if it did
If
work.
it actually worked.
It takes a while from time to time.
Yeah, there are all sorts of different ways that I see of drawing like ocean and drawing like water and stuff that are all very difficult. It's completely manual. There's no like shortcuts here in this house.
Mm-hmm.
So just like I just wanted it to look a little bit more interesting than just being blue. And I tried to sort of focus. I was focusing mostly on making the waves sort of peter out towards the horizon, but I don't think I did that very well. They sort of like disappear on here, and I feel like it puts that boat at a weird plane. But I was drawing the waves all manually by hand and then blurring everything, and it was getting really difficult. So I was like trying to just create a long wave all the way across the picture and then chunking it down.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think the major thing is more contrast. So getting those really good highlights to make it feel glossy, and then getting it a
Okay.
little darker to push that contrast.
Maybe a bit of like reflection of like things over the water, like the nets and stuff. I mean, they'd probably be pretty low down, like around here, but I could at least put like a little bit of something in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I was trying to get like the highlights in you can see, but maybe they should be brighter because like sun is bright typically.
Yeah, like I would think close to white. Like if I were to let me color pick the picture, see if you see put in. Let's see. Why won't you let me color pick, pen?
Like this,
Yeah.
a little bit more blurry.
Yeah.
I never had to get that sort of like unstable. Like I think that's CPC trying to do this. I never know how to get that looking right. I actually made it a brush for like. Oh no, I think I downloaded a brush for like you have like lake things where you got that sort of like hexy like broken up look. I think I actually have a brush for that because it's so hard to get right.
Honestly, I think the best way to get, especially the texture for water, is like keeping away from a smooth brush and get yourself like a rough pencil brush and kind of do like sketchy lines and then kind of blur them out as you need. Because that kind of helps to like the unpredictability of the water. Because water isn't like purely round and smooth when it's all wrinkly. It's more like scattered.
Yeah, so just trying to sort of keep it loosey goosey.
I think I would also change up the mermaid setting a little bit. So you have this net full of fish behind her, but then her net is miraculously just her. So either she ate all the fish and threw out all the bits, which I mean is a possibility, snack on your way up, or maybe just put something there, like seaweed, some type of additional filler.
I mean, that's why I drew that tiny little fish flipping up. But, yeah, some seaweed could work and things. I also a layer that was turned off so you could see the water was some like dripping. I got like water dripping off of her in the other net, more so on her. So the idea was that this was like the net with the fish behind was done like a few moments before. Like they weren't both simultaneous, if that makes sense. Oops. Oops.
I am on the wrong layer. That's all we do, eraser.
Oh no.
Oh, CPC.
You got any other questions there, Fluffy?
No, I think that helps for now. I just wanted to sort of get an idea of how I should advance next.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next picture then.
All the CPCs are on the ground. Silly mouse.
Top left-hand corner.
Ooh.
Some sunburst.
So this is
First
by
design.
Grekenet. I think that's how you pronounce the name.
Get Cronet, it says on the picture. I don't know.
I think so. I believe so.
I'm trying to stay true to the show style, but still give a little bit of me touch. My style is never-ending work in progress.
Yeah, I totally feel that. Like I'm never satisfied with my style. I'm always like, oh, but I like how this artist does this, and oh, I like this, and oh, I want my style to be more tall and lean and elegant. And other days, I'm like, no, I want it to be cute and like I can never decide. I'm always like updating. Like I totally understand. We work on pictures for a little bit of a time. And it's like, okay, here's a work in progress, and then eventually it's done, or we scrap it and move on. But like I think us are the biggest whips of all.
Yeah.
True that.
I love the brushwork they've done for the details around the eyes.
Yes.
Like the eyes are very, they draw you to them, but the little details around, like they've taken the few dots that Sunburst normally has and just went, we're magnifying this to 1,000.
Freckles are the best. More
He's a
pony
fluffy boy.
I think we need more painted horses, because
Yeah.
2 is way too little.
I am. Spirit is.
But you're not canon.
I can believe. I mean, we have a couple. I think Luna technically is.
Yeah, she's got like the speckle butt.
I think we've seen a few, but like there needs to be more. It's always good.
Yeah, I really dig the color palette here. They didn't just go for full show colors. Like it's a very muted tone, but it works. It feels very all in sync together. And I really love how the hair is drawn. I just love that little curl at the end there and just how the shadows work. It's just enough to give me that influence of strands of hair, but also still kind of have that show style simplicity.
Yeah. I think that gets down Sunburstle's scruffiness really well.
I have a problem with this shape. Oh, yeah, red on red. Good call. I have a problem with this shape here.
I'm always doing it.
Because I see they're trying to give it the idea of a fold over, like it had rolled over, but it's not quite getting that for me because it's totally flat across this entire edge leading over. I think I'd just add a bit more edge to there, a little more depth so it separates and gives that roll. Like if you go look at Rarity, the roly-poly master, it has very defined rolls when it rolls over. Yeah, CPC's showing this.
Yeah.
Those good old curly rolls.
The soft colors on the face and clothes clash with the hard coloring on the body. You mean like the soft shading versus the cell shading? Oh yeah, different tones completely. Like if you look down, the tone level there versus... no, the top is different than the side. I
guess
disagree.
I'm quite not seeing it. I feel like the white on the face is toned down more than the white on the hoof. Maybe that's it. Like the hoof barely has any shading to it.
I think it's because of the shading in the middle of the face, but like yeah, there definitely needs to be something that's very bright.
Yeah, there probably should have been a drop shadow right across here too. If you're going with the rest of those shadow bodies. So your comments about styles evolving, that's normal. That's no one's style will stay the same for their entire life. If it is, they aren't focusing on any improvement or changes. They're just doing them with the stamp. As you stare at art, as you absorb art, as you move through life, this all should change and evolve and grow. It's great. This is why art is very fun, and especially it's fun to go through someone's history of art to see where they started from and how things changed. This is why people shouldn't delete their pictures. Leave the pictures up so I can go through them.
Stalk your progress. Yeah, I mean, I have like so much like old crap on my DA that I'm like I want to delete, but I don't. It's good to look back and be like, look how terrible I was.
So I would add in the front left arm because based on how your body looks to be built, you're gonna have your shoulder, that means your arm's gonna be sitting there because it's straight armed, and just a little bit of the ear. You can probably cover up the bulk majority of it with the horn, but the tail looks like a totally different style than under the eye. I mean, I understand that this is more of a block cell shaded, and then the eye itself has been soft shaded, at least as far as the gradients going around it. But I don't think it's distracting how they've separated out the two ones, because the eye's a big, soft, squishy ball of water. The tails are obviously Play-Doh.
Obviously. And I mean, the other thing is I know a lot of the time even in others art or like shows other different styles of show art, they usually make the eyes more grabbing because in real life we're drawn to eyes. So if the eyes look a bit different, that kind of brings you to grab to the eyes and gravitate to the eyes. Because usually eye contact's a big thing in humans, and it's a big
Yeah.
thing to keep in
I mean,
touch with.
I think, yeah, I think expression is hugely valuable, and like obviously the eyes are the biggest part of that, and like that's why, like in MLP, they have big, huge, expressive eyes, and that's why it works really well.
And you can totally jump around and combine styles in one drawing. Sometimes it can be very jarring. That could also, it's always comes back to that question: is what style and what's, what are we looking at? What is the true thing we're looking at? Is it really something that this is just their style, they're having fun, they can do for it, or is like this is something that actually is very broken and maybe we should look at doing something different? On the scale
Mm.
of things, I don't think it's jarring enough for me to really make a fuss of it. I really do enjoy this piece in general, personally. Art's very personal like that. The tail I feel like could be a bit better. Like right now, it's just kind of shooting right out of his butt instead of flowing. Oh, I'm using blue. That's not a good color.
Well, green's out of the question too. Yellow? I guess we get yellow and purple.
See, if you want to frustrate us, just submit like a rainbow color piece.
Rainbow Dash is a
Every
hard
time
one
there's
to
a
write.
rainbow dash.
Oh yeah, you have to use like white, but then if it's like that can sometimes be hard as well.
Yeah, I'll use white. That actually works. But yeah,
Yeah.
the tail, if we look at, like the spinal structure, will be coming out more like this. And I know some people do like to get that high poof at the end of a tail, and you can still do that. Just it would be more like
The way I've seen it done and the way I do it, which looks quite nice, is I'll just draw off to the side. It's like instead of having, I'll draw over here. Instead of having the tails sort of coming out straight at an angle like this, I like to sort of emphasize. That's not good. The color, like the tails are being pushed up like this. I'm gonna move this over actually because it's on the camera. So I sort of have the tail quite like it's like really fluffed up. There. That makes any sense.
See, now I'm second guessing myself because the way the body's placed. See, I think the another thing I'm having trouble reading is, I know in my head I know it's 3/4 view, but because there's no really big definitions with all the legs there or any kind of folds in the cloak, it feels like it's sort of like a side view. But I also know it's a 3/4 view. See, this is like nitpicky back and forth stuff. Yeah, like if I were to go back. Like I'd almost want the tail, if I can. There we go. Have the tail more behind him. But yeah, like I said before, nitpicky stuff, but stuff to consider nonetheless.
All right, shall we move?
Game if you guys are.
Wow. I like the idea of using anti-rainbows for Rainbow Dash. We use the burn tool at all times to do it.
That could work.
Alright, so this is a bit of shading by Steam Flash. Since I've yet to draw another finished picture, I figured I'd share a rougher, quicker drawing that I did to practice shading. Is the shading on this accurate? So this is their shaded one. The light source is coming from the background, pointing towards the foreground, if that makes sense. Is there a better way to describe that? And I don't know how to represent the exact three-dimensional angle, a simple way so that the tip of the an angle. Sorry. And I didn't know how to represent that exact three-dimensional angle in a simple way, so that's why the tip of the arrow looks like that. Gotcha. They did a base drawing, which looks great. Then they have shading guidelines that they laid out for themselves. And then an alternative version that uses hatching for shading guidelines. I felt unsure about posting this, but I'd like to post at least something once a week or close enough to it. At least that might make me feel like I'm making some progress. As always, thank you for reading and any help and comments you might give. I read it all. Yeah, so cool. Posting, setting yourself a goal of making art once a week is a good goal. Make sure you're doing something. Once a day is pretty cool too, but not everyone has the time or the drive to do that, so once a week is pretty awesome. You don't have to post to the subreddit either for everyone. If you want, you can feel free to post to the Discord and be like, hey, check out my horse.
Yeah. As for drawing, what you did, that's actually pretty standard in any kind of medium of art to determine a direction or an angle. You can draw pyramids or cones, pretty much to demonstrate where the direction of the light is. So you pretty much did what's pretty standard.
Yeah. We've done it a couple times here on the stream, I think, haven't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To help define
Just
or
like
figure out how someone's doing their lighting.
Pretend you're drawing a unicorn horn.
So I think, the first thing it hit me, I think, is just because my brain's being thrown off by the outline. Like, the shading is saying that the leg that we're seeing on the front is where it's supposed to be. Because we can see where the light is cutting in and showing that the leg has a shoulder, but like the body outline's just sort of throwing me off a bit because it's making me think that the leg's like behind the chest or something. But that's just, I guess, your outline there is just a matter of like construction to sort of help you be guided, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'd say this is really clean. Very clean shapes, which is nice. CPC is going into detail how to really form shadows on the base. So if you're really paying attention to how she's doing things and how she kind of drew this diagram over here, there's more that can be filled in. I know the pony style in the show is a lot flatter, but if you do want to push for volume and such, there's definitely more facial features, and just ponies are like round and soft, so there's a lot of things the light catch on to.
Just made a bit more of the face. Because since the light is coming from here and this is a sphere, I think more of this side would be in shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pointing at my screen and that doesn't work.
City girl.
And I'd almost say over here,
I think maybe the tail would make a shadow over here.
Yeah, I think depends how wide it is.
because I think it's coming from the front, and I feel like this. Oh, that's not the color I color picked. Why didn't it already?
Yeah, if it's coming from behind that shadow. Yeah, that one's way too big. Should be basically just like a little edge. Or way too small. There you go. Because it was behind the horse.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the color is probably just a matter of like you being able to see what you're doing, so you can establish the shading. But I would say personally, I think it's a bit too dark, at least on the body. The mane looks really nice, but I think the body's shading is a little bit too dark, so I'd maybe lighten it up a little bit.
Well, okay, so I think the major problem here is I can see it pointing in two different directions.
Yeah, they have a light source coming like. there.
Because currently I'm unsure if it's more like the cone I drew here, or more like the cone I drew here. Like,
Excuse me. Let me go back to their other pictures. See if the guidelines. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so looking at the other pictures, the light source is sort of rotated about on the pony as the guidelines changed. I think you want to reassess where your light source is coming from and block out volumes on your horse. So, a butt is a ball, essentially. We got a ball. Ball. Same as the front. It's another ball. Ball. Head's another ball. Ball. Right? So we're gonna block out some volumes using those, and we're going to repaint the light in another pass. I don't want to say just nuke all the work you've done, but it looks like you're playing and experimenting, so what's the harm if it's experimentation?
I mean, it's because like they were saying earlier, this is like a quick sketch thing to practice shading, so...
So here's the fun part you get to do with this, or I suggest you doing with this one. Take this picture, copy it like 10 times onto the same canvas, and you're going to move the light around it. So you're going to redraw the light at a different position on it. There's an application that does a really cool lighting simulator online. I'll find it and link it to you. I think this is it. Oh my god, it's creepy as heck, but...
What is that?
Well, it's very weird CG faces.
I thought so.
Yes, this is it. So here it is for you folks. Here it is for the rest of you who are watching at home. There we go. So it's like a virtual lighting assistant to sort of plan out lighting. It's not perfect, but it does get the idea across, so we can move the light left and right, and we can elevate it up and down.
Yeah, we just need a pony one.
And it shows you where it's in relative location with that top. So if we go directly on, I think this is zero elevation. We can see that the face flat, but if we're going like yours is, where it is all the way behind on an angle and above. Yeah, you see how it's painted the outlines? So my suggestion, go and abuse this. It's zvork.fr. I'll do my best to remember to link that to you. If I don't, yell at me when I post you the YouTube link, and I'll get it to you. Give it a go. It will help figure out how your lighting is going to drop across hard objects like a human. You can interpolate that back to your horse. Hope that helps. Oh my gosh, where's my mouse?
I was about to suggest you could use a 3D pony creator, but the only light source lets you do from like right in front of you.
Yeah. You can use, if you want to get crazy and still want to use a horse, Gary's mod. You can load up Gary's mod, or just Gary's mod. I think it's the easiest for that. Load up Gary's mod, throw in a horse model, and then move your light around on it.
Yeah, and there's plenty of pony models out there you can snatch a Rooney.
Yeah, Source Filmmaker I think will let you do it too, but it's slightly more complicated to pull stuff in.
Or if you want to get super fancy, there's Blender.
Yeah.
That's a whole other can of cookies.
It's a monster, but it's a fun monster.
It got easier. The newest update I can actually find stuff now.
All right, let's move on to the next one then. Next one is it is by Supermarine Spitfire, and they're doing the artist training ground, and so this is their progress from the 26th day of it. First attempt at drawing a national seal. What they've been doing is posting every week their progress along with all the pictures and then a description of what the heck was going on in it. It's really cool to see. I don't know if they're looking for critique from everything on there, but we just decided to take their latest.
Yeah.
So the description for day 26, drawing name, addressing the human. Submission for day 26, a pony leading. This drawing is a scene in a story that I've been planning for quite some time, which involves Equestria coming into contact with interstellar human civilization. Here we see the Princess Celestia and Luna addressing the Congress of the United Nations as they sign a protectorate treaty with the United Nations. This drawing relied on multiple references, image 135547, the Princess and General layout, real-life picture of the United Nations and General Assembly chamber, and the flag of the United Nations from The Expanse. Yes, The Expanse. In the original image, I messed up both the princess's muzzles. Their nostrils were way too big and almost connected with their muzzle defining lines. To correct this error, I edited the images in Paint 3D. What an odd program to use for that. Luna's expression does not convey the same emotion as the reference. She seems irritated. Both the princess's eyes are supposed to have a single highlight, which is almost impossible to see. The greatest shortcoming, however, is the seal of the United Nations in the background. It is a crude rendition with uneven circles, misshapen stars, olive branches that look nothing like the ones the original flag, and greatly simplified the world map. I was unable to make accurate sketches of the smaller details, which led to the errors in the seals. Sketch with a 0.5 millimeter rotoring, blah blah blah.
I have several things to say. Firstly, drawing perfect circles is stupid hard unless you literally just draw circles for years. And it's kind of not necessary to learn that skill. If you have a compass, you could use that to get a good circle down. If not, you can find something to trace around just to get a base. And then once you've got like the outer circle, then you can draw other circles inside or outside that one. And because you've got the visual guide to help you determine and keep it neat. The second thing I was going to say is drawing bigger. From the looks of the lines that we can see, it looks like you've drawn very, very small. So you've not afforded yourself really any room to put in any detail, make mistakes, or just add any kind of real control. Like with that you were saying about the world map, like it'd be hard to do any kind of detail on something that small. And like with the princess's eyes and everything, like expressions can be very, very what's the word? Like they can, like a single line difference can, like the subtlest change can completely change an expression. So like it's very hard to get them to be very expressive and full of emotion, like you were saying, when you got it so small, because then it's really hard to get that control, and you really need control when it comes to expressions.
Yeah. And as for drawing the circle, I'm not sure what kind of undersketch or. So you said he did these just in pen? Zom? Like it was just a micron or something?
A mechanical pencil and then Larmy fountain pen for the outlines, which seems like going hard mode on outlines.
Yes. I would definitely say spend some more time with the pencil portion of this and really let yourself flow with the circle. I know lining it's a beast of its own because lining it's almost like a whole other form of concentration on drawing. I like to think of it as the sketch should have all the information you're gonna need for a final piece. And the line art is you tracing that sketch. So if you don't have, you know, that base already built for you, it's going to be that much harder to make these nice clean
Yeah, I
lines.
completely agree.
So something to consider there is just to really solidify things in the sketch, and that's not to say you can't go on to lining, like please do, but it definitely helps with keeping things steady because it's in front of you, because the things you focus about with line art are just your control, how your swishes are made. You think about, you know, how am I going to get from this line to this line and keep it, you know, a curved angle. There's so many tutorials. I don't have the link on me at the moment and I can grab it, but if you're listening to this YouTube video, just search something called like line dynamic practice. And there'll be so much there to help you with just getting motor skills in, practices you can do to get motor skills in, to get those really nice finished line art lines. Like Zamzam
Yeah.
said, the pen you're using is kind of hardcore mode, so it might be just a little difficult at first.
Yes. Like that's all the more reason to use a bigger canvas and draw larger, because like you're having to struggle so much just to get any kind of shapes in. It's like, and it's I think to a certain extent, especially with sketching, working small means it's less easy to make very obvious mistakes. At least not like subtle ones. If it's like a big glaring like problem, then like you can see it easily. But just like small tiny details are hard to get wrong because it's hard to draw them anyway. But like
Yeah.
not being able to make mistakes isn't really that much of a good thing. You kind of want to afford yourself the ability to add detail and to be able to make mistakes, because then you're able to correct them and learn and draw something better.
And a lot of it'll come with time, and the fact that you're doing something, you know, you're following along with the artist training grounds, and I hope you do more afterwards too. The stuff like that's gonna build up.
Yes, yes. This was a very good attempt. I think you did a good job. It's just a matter of giving yourself more room to work and allowing yourself a chance to try more details and reference things and really get yourself in there in the art zone.
Yeah.
So I think you can do some great stuff if you sort of give yourself the opportunity to.
Also, damn the hard mode of using Alarmy for lining. I've done it before. It's fountain pens are not forgiving.
Yes.
They can be very cool, and if you noodle around long enough, you can get some really, really nifty results, especially with the like metallic inks that you can get for it and the color changing inks.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Some nifty stuff, but whoa. You are setting up a hard mode for yourself.
If you're in the market to go try something a little bit easier, I highly recommend either like a micron pen or a brush tip pen. Brush tips are personally my favorite because it gives you that width option of you can have something really thin if you press lightly or really thick if you add some pressure. I'm a personal fan of the brush tip liner.
Why not both? You could go with the Copic Micron brush.
Whoa!
They have an entire kit of a bunch of micron sizes, and it has the brush micron.
The brush, yeah. I just thought of I don't know why, but I refer to the ones that just have like the specific size tips as microns.
Yeah, I mean that's what they should be, but it's also a brand name by Copic, so
yeah,
you get what you got.
It's like Kleenex.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
I am not used to living in heat where just the ambient temperature is enough to melt chocolate. Normally chocolate only melts if it's on like a warm surface.
It sounds like you need that tropical chocolate that was in MREs. The stuff that doesn't melt under 100 degrees.
Damn.
I want chocolate to be soft. When I get like a chocolate bar, I usually put it on top of my desk because like all the heat from a computer under it will warm the desk enough to make it soft but not melt. But it's too hot in general right now, so...
So Mother Nature's just doing you a favor.
But I want it soft but not melted.
I
just don't like it like fridge hard.
You know what's the worst when melted? Something with a wafer in it, like a Kit Kat. If your Kit Kat melts, the worst. Anyway.
I had some Boost bars and they like melted to heck.
So this is another amazing username's name. Eggplant
Okay.
Samurai.
I love it.
Love it.
Drew an armored base pony on things chosen randomly from my boyfriend. He wants to name it Birmingham Shutter.
Love it.
All right, let's critique Birmingham because that is his name now.
It's been christened.
So I love that your boyfriend randomly tossed out ideas for you to draw. That is a fun way to do
Yes.
things. We occasionally have a challenge where we do that. Everyone gets a single object or a single section of a horse to draw, and they all collaboratively draw one, and it has made some monsters. Some of my favorite monsters.
Absolutely.
All right. So critique time. He is a beast of a horse. Those are some big hooves.
Yeah.
I think you did really well for the consistency of the hooves, except for the one that it's on top of the helmet. That one became a lot smaller than your other ones, so that would just be something to consider, the consistency of the thickness, what you want to go for. If you wanted something thinner like that, or if you wanted these big hammer hooves, so he's an all-powerful guard with his hammer hooves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You can always go the grand answer and go bigger hooves.
If that's what you want, then it's fine.
Mhm.
But just to point out that they are very big, very heavy-duty hooves.
Listen, I wouldn't want to face him. He'd protect well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
I also wouldn't want to buy shoes for him.
No. It's all custom.
I mean, I can tell you how much of a hell that is.
So when drawing a pony, don't forget about the stuff on the other side of the pony. So you've done the wings stuck up and you've done the ears stuck up. So we should have the opposite side of those because they are never going to be completely covered. I just leave it as Zai's waifu.
What? Oh.
There is a waifu in here for you. Look, you got a fan club.
Fluffy.
I see you. I know who you are.
I think Zai's waifu needs to draw Zai a picture.
Yes.
Like,
Don't
ship
encourage
this.
her.
I am shipping this. You need to draw a picture
No,
of Zai
enough of that
being
already.
shipped.
She has a diamond.
Ship this. Anyway, back to this
No.
picture.
So
Yeah. Don't forget about the other side, is what I was saying, before I got distracted by a waifu.
I'm trying to go for your big hooves here, but it's maybe a little bit too big. Ooh.
Horse armor has always been a little bizarre to me. Like, getting in and out of that stuff would be complicated. It would be heavy.
Yeah.
And what is your goal to protect? Because they got a lot of moving areas on them that doesn't like to be locked up.
yeah.
Actually, the white shows up better.
I mean, this armor looks pretty like you could move your joints and stuff.
It's more the breastplate thing.
Yeah.
It's on the ground. I'm just trying to figure out how that piece into it.
Unicorns.
Unicorns, got
Oh,
it.
I thought that was a helmet.
Oh, helmet?
Yeah, like the hair comes out.
I
And this is
thought
like an
it was a
eye.
helmet as well, actually. That's what I had imagined since he's wearing clothes everywhere else.
That
I
makes
thought that
more
must have been the
sense.
helmet.
Then I'd agree with Maze. The shape is a little confusing, but little details like that, who cares? Just draw. You can play around and try and develop how technology works and how things are supposed to be built together, or you can just play.
Ear goes out
Sweet.
there, the hair goes out there, the neck comes out
Ah,
here.
that flips the canvas.
I mean, my head's obviously too small for the helmet, but that's how I picture it.
It's just like a fool putting on a full-sized helmet then. Thunk.
But yeah, something I could suggest for the armor though is right now you have the armor super hug tight, like as if it was like a stocking or like tights or something. So give it some bulk and have it separate a little from the actual body of the pony. Like it has some heft.
Yeah.
Have it come off. Like these little orange bits here can be like the especially the big separators to help you get that metal feel. And especially to get it extra like armor-y feeling, go with hard edges. I know I have some rounded edges here, but if you want like a really, rigid feel for like hardcore defensive armor, usually very good hard edged corners, lines, keeping away from curves. You can have curves, don't get me wrong, but keeping away from them tend to helps just to define that like, yes, this is rigid hard armor.
Yeah. Armor definitely is a beast of its own. I mean, I've drawn some. I play a lot of Pathfinder and D&D, so I've designed a lot of my own characters and how to draw armor for them. So I know it can be very challenging. But it's just to sort of get those shapes right, the mix between curves and harder edges, and how to get that like 3D shape to look right. But it's worth continuing to try, and I would definitely recommend looking up online. It was actually helped me a lot. It's just looking up references of like just looking up like fantasy armor and just like not even like finding a particular piece of armor like, oh, this is what it looks like, because that's gonna be pretty hard to do. But you can find a thing that's like, oh, I sort of like how the pauldrons look on this, or I like how the chest piece looks on this, or at least a part of it, like, oh, look at the folds on this piece of armor, that's quite nice. You can just mix and match different pieces, and you can tell that I've done this a lot because I know the names of different specific pieces of armor.
But yeah. Otherwise, this is really cute.
Hmm.
I hope your
I just sort
boyfriend
of
gives you more ideas.
yeah. I changed up how the body is shaped to give it more of a standard MLP bean shape, and adjusted the legs. I always typically draw the legs on these extremes in my own style. I have like very sort of a rounded, specific shape for the hooves, but you don't have to do it that way. You can feel free to use your own style with that. If you want them to be bigger and bulkier, that's cool. I did think that the head needed to be a little bit bigger. I think that's mostly what was making it look super bulky. Was like the hooves were like kind of big. There's definitely some nice power to those hooves, but it's like mostly because I think the head was really small. So it was just about balancing that, I think. Let's see. Let's just have a look at this tail. There we go. So I hope my little scribblings have helped in some way.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for this, guys?
I got nothing.
Alrighty.
Good luck on the future.
Yeah. Like I said, I hope your boyfriend gives you more ideas.
Should draw together.
Yes.
Draw off. All right, and our last one submitted this week is by Just Beautiful Me. I tried to draw my boyfriend and I as ponies, and it's not great, but that's how it turned out.
It is adorable,
Mm-hmm.
sparkly love.
It is very adorable, and that's so sweet of you to do that.
Yeah, I hope you do more stuff like this. It's honestly very, very cute.
Yeah. I would be curious though. I'm so sad you're not here because I'd love to talk to you about what art program you use. I know a lot really want to jump into doing digital, and there's a lot to take into for digital. I know just with all the program choices and what they can do and how to do things, and there's different ways. That's why I want to know, because I wish I could help you so you can get rid of like those black lines underneath, because I'm pretty sure those are your sketch lines, and then you went over to color them.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to help you get rid of them so you can have like a nice pretty colorful picture without the little black showing through.
I never remember how to rotate in this program with keyboard shortcuts. I'm too lazy to hit the button at the on screen. I'm trying to draw sort of like a plane.
Control and space.
Oh, no, that didn't. Oh, yes, it does work. Okay. Getting it to let go again is another issue.
Oh, it didn't.
It's a bit
worked
buggy,
with
but it
me.
works. Okay. So one of the first things that jumped out to me is the stallion's legs are a little bit like they're going off to the side, um, rather than being on the same plane as her. I'm guessing that's because you drew this pony, and then you're like, oh wait, how do I fit these legs in without covering up what I've already drawn? And yeah, I get that. I have that a lot. But there are ways you can make it work with this, and still make it obviously sitting here, and that his body isn't like disappearing off this way somewhere. Um,
Oh, I was going to do something else.
well, you can do that because this wasn't going up very well. But I may be drawing on the wrong layer. I clicked on layer. Oh, is this posted on the wrong layer? No, we go.
I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I've done this pose before. So I thought it was like he was sitting with his legs sideways.
Yeah, that's what I was imagining. Like you're sort of leaning on the side.
Yeah.
If that's the case, which I think might be, um, I would have a leg like supporting him. That was very terribly drawn, but just have like the back leg supporting, and then this leg in here being like, oh, my love. Well, Cupid's case is drawing those legs very fantastically. I will say a piece of advice if you sort of cut to this point in the video and haven't watched the whole thing. A piece of advice I will give you that I gave someone else is just to work bigger. It looks just from the lines that you're drawing on a very small scale, and I think it like at the moment it's sometimes easier just to sort of work like that because it's kind of easy to throw the lines and colors down and have them look okay. But if you draw bigger, you give yourself a lot more room to have control, and you can make most mistakes more easily. But that's okay because then you just look up pictures that you like, look up references, and you can come to us at the Discord or the subreddit for help if you get stuck. And once you learn how to fix them, then you get better and you become a better artist. But when you're drawing small, you just don't have much room to add detail. So it's very hard to get expressions right. It's very hard to work on anatomy because everything's very squashed together. And since you're working digital, quite as it looks like, it's very easy just to blow it up, even if it means having to redraw some parts because lines get blurry. But if you're still in the sketch stage, it's quite easy just to expand the canvas. It doesn't matter if the sketch is blurry. Then you can just draw over that. We can give you lots of advice on good art programs to use and good digital techniques and help you grow and develop how you draw from there. If you feel free, if you feel like you want to have some advice on a more consistent basis, then you can come to us on Discord and we can give you some one-on-one support. There are lots of people there that are willing to help each other learn and grow.
Yeah. And keep drawing, keep going for it, because this is really cute.
Yeah.
I believe we have a link to the Discord and subreddit stuff in the YouTube descriptions, don't we?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And if not, it's on the Reddit that they posted on.
Yeah.
You'll find it up in the top left-hand corner or down on the right sidebar. 2 locations. Find it. I believe in you. All right. Anyone else have any art they'd like critiqued? Any other questions they'd like to ask? Any other fluffies eyes they'd like to woo?
The shipping is not real.
Ship it.
Yo.
Ship. I'm all for the ship. How about you, Allie?
I mean, you know.
I spent ages trying to deny this.
Listen,
Stop undividing me.
he's just gone babbling crazy. He can't speak clearly. All the blood's rushed to his head. He's embarrassed.
I mean,
it's adorable.
They're drawing Rarity's cutie mark and exiting out, so I think I have to ship it if you really hate Rarity that much.
No, it's the
I
diamond.
mean, your exit. This is Rarity's cutie mark.
It's not no Rarity's cutie mark. It's three together diamonds.
There
like
were 3
this,
together there.
which is okay, but I was Xing specific single diamonds.
I love that. Check mark good.
There was like a triangle of shipping, like a joke ship with me, Storm, and our friend Starry, and Starry and I are like, no, and Storm was like, yes. And now she's like added someone else, it's a diamond, and then I think there's even like more, and it's like, I don't know what shape it is now.
It's obviously a
Like,
fluffy diamond.
She has a fiance. She just likes
alright.
tormenting us.
There's more to love.
Listen, polygamy's totally a thing. There's always bigger beds. And with that, see you guys next week.
Come hang out on the
room
Discord
floor was
where
just a
more
bed.
silliness.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.